I believe in states' rights. Now, that sentence gets a whole lot more interesting when you find out a year later, Republican strategist Lee Atwater was recorded explaining why states' rights had become such useful political language. And I mean, he explains it. He explains how you go from openly using the N word to states' rights to forced busing. And then eventually you get so abstract that you don't have to mention black people at all. That's not me interpreting what Republicans meant. That's Lee Atwater explaining how the language worked. And once I heard that tape, I went back to Reagan, because I haven't told you where in Mississippi he said that. He said it in Philadelphia, Mississippi. And if you know anything about the civil rights movement, you probably already know why that matters. Was it racist? Or was he just talking about the federal government? Did the location actually matter? Now, I can give you my opinion, but I don't really need to. Because a year later, Lee Atwater explained how this kind of language actually works. In 1981, a political scientist named Alexander Lamis interviews Lee Atwater about Republican politics in the South. Now, Atwater isn't just some random campaign staffer. He would eventually run George H.W. Bush's presidential campaign, and then he became the chairman of the Republican National Committee, the RNC. He's very much in the room. When the conversation gets to race, Atwater starts explaining how the language changed. So after listening to him, I started going backwards. Because if Atwater is right about how language changed, you should be able to see that change happening. And you can, actually. Go back to 1948. Harry Truman pushes the civil rights reform and desegregates the military. And Southern segregationists in his own party are furious. He's watching it happen, and 10 years later, Reagan goes to Mississippi. And now we're back where we started. And once you know what Atwater was describing, Reagan's politics become really interesting to go back through. The welfare queen is probably one of the cleanest examples, because there really was a woman behind that story, Linda Taylor. And yeah, she committed some serious fraud. But Reagan takes this one woman and turns her into something much bigger politically.
We don't have a lot of time. You had a rap singer here last night named Sister Soldier. I defend her right to express herself through music. But her comments before and after Los Angeles were filled with the kind of hatred that you do not honor today and tonight.
My assistant called me up and said they caught Willie Horton. And I said, well, what do you mean? We learned fairly quickly that he was out on a weekend pass, a furlough they called it, and he invaded a couple's house.
One was Willie Horton, who murdered a boy in a robbery, stabbing him 19 times. Despite a life sentence, Horton received 10 weekend passes from prison.